Hello, this video is a little late in the day, and it's late in the day because I'm tired. And I'm not only tired because I was clearing out the garage yesterday, but I'm tired because the world stopped making sense. And that's very tiring on the brain. I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. Right, for those of you who are interested in my horse, I'll just say a few words. What happened to him was he got something that looked a lot like what's called in the horse riding world strangles, which is highly infectious. It's an upper respiratory infection, and it's not always fatal, but it very often does for older horses with problems of various sorts. So when a stables gets a case of strangles, then everybody locks down. You know, the stables becomes, quarantined. So I was really worried about that, but nobody else in the stables has strangles. So the second line of speculation is that he got some straw. You know, he inhaled some straw, and that's caused the rather spectacular effects that we saw the other day. But his temperature is down now. Nobody else is ill. And he seems to be a lot happier in himself as well. So, yeah, that's my horse. But because my horse was sick, I decided, right, 4 years, for 4 years, I've been promising myself that I'd clean the garage. I mean, we moved to this house over 5 years ago, maybe 6 years. Anyway, it's all a ghastly blur now. But the point is, stuff just piled up in the garage. And I've been trying to clear it out. And finally, yesterday, I had a blitz. I found all sorts of things. I found a tap. That's a faucet to you guys in America. I found a tap. I knew there was a tap somewhere in the garage, but I had no idea where it was. Well, it turned out to be behind a stack of boxes. So I found the tap. Now I've got to find a hose to attach it to. All right, well, that's the story of my horse and the story of the garage. And now we'll talk about stuff. Now, all of that made sense. None of this does. Non-Muslims could be victims of Islamophobia under Angela Rayner's new terms. You see, this government is making a pig's bottom of almost everything. And they've decided, well, their legacy is going to be doing something about Islamophobia. Apparently, Islamophobia is staining the soul of the United Kingdom deeply and brightly. No, not brightly. Deeply and darkly. And Keir Starmer is most concerned about it.
We've seen a devastating rise in Islamophobia.
Right. It's absolutely devastating. I mean, I don't suppose it's got anything to do with the Palestine flags for which some poor guy got arrested because he complained in a Facebook posting. This was a couple of years ago. There's a video circulating now, but it happened a couple of years ago. He went out into his street and almost every window had Palestine flags hanging from them. And he made a complaint on Facebook. Next thing he knew, the police were banging at his door, arresting him for, I don't know what became of him, but he got arrested, whatever. I don't know whether they let him go after that. Okay, so let's see. The Deputy Prime Minister has proposed that other faith groups so what's happened is this. If somebody insults, according to the law that they're proposing, if somebody insults a Muslim, it's going to attract a particular punishment. That is, it's not a punishment for insulting somebody, not a punishment for being racially prejudiced in any way. No, it's a punishment for insulting a Muslim. I mean, real dimmy laws that we are actually passing on ourselves. I mean, it's one thing if you're in a Muslim country and they pass laws that discriminate against non-Muslims. They do that. But if you're a non-Muslim in a Muslim majority country, you can sort of expect that. But here we have a bunch of dhimmis, and dhimmi being the operative word here, passing dhimmi laws on themselves on behalf of a Muslim minority. I mean, if that isn't the law of the madhouse, then what is? Now, and then we have this inversion of British law. And British law has it, or had it until recently, that it was what you did, not what you were thinking of. Now there are more laws that are being made that assume what you're thinking. So here, you see, if you happen to even not like Muslims and you happen to not misgender, how would you, misreligion, no, just a minute, there's got to be a name for that. Hang on, I'm just going to think about that, so there might be a cut here. Well, how about misdogma, whatever it is. If you happen to misdogma or should you talk about dogs when you're referring to Muslims? Anyway, it's the word. What can I say? If you're going to misdogma a Hindu, thinking that the Hindu is a Muslim, then the Hindu you can be arrested for Islamophobia even though the person you might have insulted is not a Muslim. In fact, if you saw a Hindu and thought that he was a Muslim and wished him a happy Ramadan, that is misdogmaing a Hindu for a Muslim. The Hindu might take offence and then you get prosecuted for Islamophobia. Looking Glass World. Now, they're trying to find. The move follows controversy over previous attempts by Labour to draft a definition of Islamophobia, which was criticised for being so widely drawn it curbed free speech. Oh, but that's what they want to do, isn't it? It's all about free speech, really, isn't it? The fact is there are a lot of Muslims who are very keen on restricting speech. They always have been. That is, you might say, a very definition of a Muslim society. So that's why Muslim societies are the messes they are, mostly. Right, hang on, just in case you've forgotten.
We've seen a devastating rise in Islamophobia.
Just so long as you know. OK. And it's all about stopping people from saying things. So let's see. The move follows controversy over previous attempts, which was criticised for being so widely drawn that it curbed free speech and amounted to a blasphemy law, which it did. Now, this is the definition of Islamophobia, which the all-party parliamentary group of British Muslims on British Muslims was talking about. First of all, they start by saying Islamophobia is rooted in racism. No, it isn't. No, it is not. I keep reminding people of this. Islam is a religion. It's a set of beliefs. It's not racist to criticise a set of beliefs. But in fact, what this rule is talking about, the fact that, Hindus and Sikhs might be caught in the net with this law, is definitely racism, because it's what it's saying is that anyone with a brown skin is a Muslim, which is nonsense, of course, because there are lots of Muslims who don't have brown skins. Albania, for instance, is a Muslim country. The people in Albania look mostly like Europeans. And there are, of course, ordinary Brits who've been, in my opinion, so foolish as to convert. OK, so it says, hang on, we were looking at that thing. Contemporary examples of Islamophobia in public life, the media, schools, the workplace, and encounters between religions and non-religions in the public sphere could, taking into account the overall context, include, but are not limited to. I mean, that in itself is a piece of work. But if you look at the end of it, it says all of this list can include, but it's not limited to. So that means everything, doesn't it? Calling for, aiding, instigating or justifying the killing or harming of Muslims. Look, we have a law. You can't incite violence against anyone. So why Muslims should be a special category here, I don't know. Oh, except for this.
We've seen a devastating rise in Islamophobia.
Just in case you'd forgotten. Making mendacious, dehumanising, demonising or stereotypical allegations about Muslims as such. So if you say certain things about Muslims, insulting the way they dress or what they eat or the way they fast or the way they pray, then that definition there could actually, if it were taken as law, that could become illegal to do. The fact that Muslims refer to Hindus, I found one underneath one of my videos. Someone, obviously Muslim, referred to Hindus as cow worshippers. I've seen a lot on Muslim sites about Hindus being cow worshippers. It's not like Muslims don't. Now, I just want to tell you, Hindus do not worship cows. They have a respect for them, like Muslims have a respect for cats, by the way. And so if I refer to Muslims as cat worshippers, like Muslims would refer to Hindus as cow worshippers, then I'd be, under the terms of this proposed law, I would be punishable. Whereas a Muslim who refers to a Hindu as a cow worshipper, no, he's allowed to do that. Accusing Muslims as a group of being responsible for real or imagined wrongdoing committed by a single Muslim person or group of Muslim individuals. So would that mean that we won't be able to talk about grooming gangs anymore? Or refer to the fact that there's a whole Muslim population, for instance, in a town like Rochdale, who, while not actually doing anything in the grooming gangs, not participating in their vile and repellent activities, knew about what was going on and didn't report it to the police. If I point out that this was a communal thing then, that they were responsible for not reporting it, would I be punishable by law? Well, according to this, yes. Accusing Muslims as a group or Muslim majority states. So I can even talk about jihadi states of inventing or exaggerating Islamophobia. So, this is the gaslighting law, isn't it? If I say Muslims are exaggerating Islamophobia, or I say that something like Turkey is exaggerating things because they changed their name from how we spell it, Turkey, to, I don't even remember, but it's something like hang on, I'm going to look that up just so I don't want to be accused of Islamophobia. Yeah, it's now spelt T-U umlaut, R-K-I-Y-E. That's because Erdogan said that we're insulting Turkey because we have turkeys at Christmas or whenever. So Yeah, and to call Erdogan oversensitive, then according to this, that would be punishable by law. Accusing Muslim citizens of being more loyal to the Ummah. Oh yes, so if I point out that somebody who wins a council election in Hare Hills, which is a sort of part of the Leeds conurbation, and instead of shouting, up Hare Hills, or I'm going to deal with the potholes, it says, this is a victory for Gaza, and then shouts Allahu Akbar, and I say, this looks very much like a statement of loyalty to the Ummah rather than a statement of being a counsellor for Hare Hills, then again, looks like I'm going to be punishable if this is taken as part of the law. Accusing, denying Muslim populations the right to self-determination. Oh, so if you disagree with the idea of an independent Palestine or Kashmir, then you are denying Muslims the right to self-determination. And
we've seen a devastating rise in Islamophobia.
You may wonder why people are voicing increasing disquiet about Islam, when there is a definition here which might form the basis of a law, which says that if I say Palestine is a myth, it's not a state, and the way the people in Gaza are behaving and have behaved, they don't deserve a state, that's going to put me on the wrong side of the law. Let's see. Applying double standards by requiring of Muslim behaviour that is not expected or demanding of any other group. Goodness me, Muslims run riot through streets and don't get arrested. White people run riot through streets and end up 3 years in jail. Or dead, of course. In what way? Well, there's certainly double standards, but it doesn't appear to be being levelled at Muslims. Using the symbols and images associated with classic Islamophobia, e.g. Muhammad being a paedophile. Oh, right, so a man who fiddles with a 6-year-old girl in the bath until she's 9 and then has full with her, that's perfectly acceptable. Is it? Well, yeah, I mean, can I say it is not acceptable? Well, not if this law goes through with this set of definitions, and then holding Muslims collectively responsible for the action of any Muslim, and that's that is wrong. It's just amazing how many Muslims hold Jews responsible for what's going on in Israel. It just doesn't work the other way, does it? But then, of course,
we've seen a devastating rise in Islamophobia.
Yeah, right. Well, I am just telling you of something that doesn't make any sense to. So I'm thinking there must be something in the news that makes sense. And I looked at the next piece of news and I got this. A migrant avoids deportation because he lost his phone. He's from Iraq. He's staying in Britain after a hearing by an immigration tribunal because apparently he lost his mobile phone sometime on the journey over. And he can't remember the phone number of his relatives in Iraq. And so as long as he can't talk to them, he can't get any ID documents. So when he goes to Iraq, he won't have any ID documents. And the immigration tribunal said, yeah, that sounds reasonable. Leave to stay. You know, if Angela Rayner applied the looking glass to herself instead of British law, I think we'd all be a lot happier. Till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.